Season's greetings and welcome to Two Balls and a Mic 187. 187 weeks in a row of Two Balls and a Mic. You check out everything Two Balls and a Mic at San Diego Football. San Diego Loyal Professional Soccer Club since 2020 announces that they are folding. They are going to cease operations after this current season. We talked about it on the pod. Your Chivas thoughts. You were too busy at Disneyland purchasing an MLS soccer ball. Interesting set of choices you made. We're also going to go ahead and talk about a couple of updates for MLS events happening sold out. We will be having CEO of SDFC, Tom Penn, later on this week. Find out what we're going to be looking to ask, perhaps. What do you guys want to hear? You can always call us. 619-289-7621. Our phone number here at Two Balls and a Mic that was very heavily used, especially after the news broke last week. San Diego Wave bouncing back. Abby Dahlkemper, La Capitana, ex-Capitana, coming back, getting on the score sheet, putting San Diego Wave back on the map. NWSL playoffs in sight. And, I mean, we'll talk about it. If you guys want to, you can leave. I don't care to you. You can get out and do not come back. It is an absolute sweat lodge here in the garage. Record heat. But no, again, use that phone number. It's going to be 619-289-7621. You can leave a voicemail. We'll see if we can get some live calls reaction. Just to give you a preview, there was 2.5 hours. I don't know if you took the time, Chiva. You were too busy buying a Marvel Avengers MLS ball.
Hell yeah.
To spit in the faces of the San Diego Loyal. No,
I mean, if you want to put it like that. No, I mean,
but this is what you let me just put this before you go. This is kind of like emotions everywhere. Everybody said everything. I really appreciate everybody who came on. Steve, Alan will have on to talk about the game and a little bit of, again, the fallout since the announcement. But this is kind of some of what you missed.
I just want to say real quick, we over here at the bar getting fucked up because the news, but it's still motherfucking loyal to the death. It's still Phoenix can suck my motherfucking dick. We about to get this ring still. You know what it is? And, hey, at the MLS, I'll see y'all there, too. I don't give a motherfuck. This is San Diego por vida. Homie was cracking.
So there was that. Shout out Papi Chavo. People
is
were
that
out
sober
and about.
Papi Chavo or faded Papi Chavo?
Somewhere in between.
In between.
Somewhere in between. Obviously, the news coming down. Andrew Vasiliadis announcing it's the most coverage I've seen San Diego Loyal get in a while.
That is true.
That is pretty important. But it's been a couple days. All right. So we obviously in Two Balls and a Mic, we're in the knowing business. People tell us stuff and we find out, and it's one of those things where we've kind of been knowing, unfortunately. And it's that albatross that we've been carrying in a lot of senses, trust exercises. And the official kind of stance of Two Balls and a Mic was it's their story to tell. There's a lot of people that are involved, players who have this is a career-altering move, the front office. Some people relocating. It's been a bunch of little things everywhere. But we wanted to make sure that, we were respectful of that. And so that's kind of why we didn't want to break that news, because we've gotten to know a lot of the people that have helped us, because San Diego Loyal just have been absolutely top-notch in terms of being able to give us a platform, give us some credibility. And, it's one of those things that it's just sad all across. And, the title is Devastating News. It's literally the words that I used a couple while back. But, Chiva, the announcement came on Thursday. You had this Disney trip planned for a while.
Yeah.
You're having the time of your life, honestly. And San Diego is over here in mourning.
Yeah.
Go for it.
It was unfortunate, right? Because we've talked about it where there's things that are going to happen very last minute where we're going to need to have an emergency pod or something like that. Unfortunately, I had this trip planned out already over a month ago. So I couldn't cancel it, obviously.
If you loved your city, yeah.
I love my girlfriend more.
Ah.
So, keep it. No,
No,
so
that's fine.
thank you for having that. Obviously, you stepped up and ran that solo pod along with Steve,
Steve, Drew.
Drew, and Alan. But
yeah.
I mean, long fucking pod. Obviously, lots of emotions, and I was tuning in here and there. I didn't have an AirPod, so I couldn't really hear to everything in Disney. But yeah, I did buy one of the Avengers MLS balls that same day. Just because it is like a limited edition ball. It does
okay.
look cool. It's Avengers.
Okay.
So I didn't know Downtown Disney has the Pele store. And it has literally anything you can think of soccer
You're
related.
really going into not Sandy. We were avoiding.
No,
talking
no,
about
no.
Sandy
They
Loyal.
had
Okay,
Charlie
go for
Kids.
it, go
They
for
had
it.
Charlie Kids. No, but
Did
so
they really?
uh,
Was Loyal there?
no, not Loyal Host. The Mexican.
Sold out.
Yeah,
sold out. News came out. Sold out.
They're becoming limited edition. Anyways, right? So the news came out on Thursday. You kind of let us know. I believe was it Wednesday? It's like, hey, like stuff's gonna be announced Thursday. So I was like, oh shit, okay. Woke up, saw the news, and I even tweeted it, right? Like this was the team that gave us our first media credentials.
Yeah.
This was the team that literally gave us a chance and said, hey, like, yeah, let's give this two dipshits credentials. Why not?
Well,
I mean, honestly, that's how I
harsh.
see it.
Ouch.
But at the time,
mira. Look
At
at
the
this.
time.
Look at this. Look at this. Look. Ah.
No. Mira ahorita,
Torito.
mira ahorita, mira ahorita.
Torito, what's going on? in 4 years, we still haven't figured this out. Nah, it's all good. Literally, the first thing we ever got invited to. Most of us, most people in San Diego, first thing that they involve themselves with in San Diego Loyal.
What's up, guys? Landon Donovan here, and you're listening to Two Balls and a Mic podcast.
And then it goes into a 3-minute intro song.
¿Te acuerdas?
That's still to this day Landon Donovan's one and only appearance
On Two Balls and a Mic?
on Two Balls and a Mic. Old school logo there.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was very sad because San Diego Loyal literally was the first team that we got to see as credentialed media, obviously,
Yeah.
and it's been a journey. To the point where I even told you a while back, like, dude, I think we're covering too much San Diego Loyal.
Yeah, we were covering these guys.
And
Look
you
at that.
know, man,
What a transformation! Like
shit.
what a transformation! Like it's
Yeah, the studio looks a lot nicer.
yeah.
The studio.
No, that's you.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
That's a different person.
Look. I can do this. Chiva. Hold on.
I know.
And then. Wow. Oh no, it's reverse actually. Oh, what's up, Chiva? Oh, come on, Chiva. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, Tony found the sound effects. Estúpido.
Yeah, no, that was a long time
This is how we
ago.
cope. This is how I cope. It's like losing a family member. You know, like get us or no, whatever the reason is, the reasons that will come out, have come out, we're privy to, the truths. It's still sad. Like,
Yeah.
why? Yeah, make both of them work. There's a petition I saw because I don't know. I mean, San Diego Loyal has a Reddit, and
they do.
somebody posted that there's a petition that needs 75 signatures or 100 signatures, something like that, to make it a UPSL or NISA team. So I mean,
Andrew said it on the video, right? Like, he's not going to put anything less
an
than
inferior
products. And I mean, going down to NISA League would be exactly that. It'd be inferior, obviously, to a lower division team. Shout out to Avian San Diego. Yeah, no, it's very sad, obviously, like not having San Diego Loyal. I mean, what they've done for the community, what they represent here, what they've stood for. We may have not agreed on everything they've done. Signing of players they've had, just
Oh,
different
another thing that
things.
you missed because you were on vacation. Look at that. Culero.
Tú vete de vacaciones, güey.
If somebody wants to sponsor me for vacations, I'm down.
Ya ves? Ahí
But
está.
yeah, so I mean, we'll talk about the game right now. There's still a lot to kind of unpack. So a lot of emotions. People are processing it. I'm sorry to say that I ended up being right. Need to figure themselves out. San Diego back in
Sort
July.
themselves
out. Got some
Yeah.
wind of some potential devastating news.
Oh, the boy was onto something.
Yeah, I mean,
that boy Corbin,
look,
he's very
look,
smart.
Look, I'll play the game. I'll be respectful, but like in my head, it's like an asteroid is heading to Earth, and you're the one that sees it in the telescope. Nobody on the world knows it. Do you tell people or do you not tell people? It's gonna collide with Earth in 20 minutes.
Nah, you don't tell people.
Exactly. Like, obviously, like word started getting around. People started breaking Louisville somehow. But we'll continue the story because it is a big story as the season does progress. But you really have to think about just the bigger picture too. Like, this means a lot of things, right? Players. It was sources confirmed that the players have received some sort of incentive in order to, bring it back for San Diego.
Yeah.
I know that the players, talking to a couple of them, like it's apparent that they're upset too. They're not happy about this. Who would be happy about having to leave San Diego?
You're losing your job.
But like, think
That's-
about it,
that's
bro.
what
Like,
it is. Like
people are losing their jobs. Some players are never going to play again. That's
some of
it.
them have to move. Some of them have to
move.
find a new team.
Joe Corona just came back home. Is he going to retire? Alejandro Guido. I'm talking to him about coming on Rogue for his promotion for his academy. But we'll get him. We'll get him. Cool. I think about Elijah. Right. What does Elijah do? Plenty of teams would go. I'd like to see, honestly, because it's the reality of things. If some of the players go up to Orange County, like I'd go see my guys.
Like what
Evan
if you're
Conway, where does he
if
go?
you're the team, where does Xavi go? He just signed his first pro contract. Like you're signing and you're hoping for a next season I get to more minutes, and now it's like, whoa, you guys literally just signed me knowing that there's not gonna be a next season.
Yeah. And then that depth is super important, right? You don't have Kyle Adams anymore. And I think it'll come down, hopefully. Just for sure, you get an advantage by not telling people your weaknesses, but there's a developing story where I don't think you even know this. It looks like there's a player that might be out for the season that we haven't talked about injury-wise. As that happens, it'll happen. But it's one of the things where the real human being aspect comes through. MLS from the top rope decided to put out a statement.
Yeah.
People were not happy about it. I can see why. Definitely, I can see why. I also can see why MLS would think that they would need to put something out.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that day, hours after.
If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
it's one of those situations where that team is not going to win regardless, whether they put something out or not. If they don't put anything out, it's like, oh, why isn't MLS saying anything? Freaking assholes, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They put something out, oh, really too soon, blah, blah, blah. It's a lose-lose situation for them. I think they had to put something, obviously. I think Wave, instead of like a posting like that, they just kind of replied to the post, like saying something like that, which I think was a little more appropriate. Because what it felt like from this MLS team is kind of like a little like little spitting on the grave type thing.
Yeah,
That's
I can
literally
definitely
what it felt like.
I can definitely see that.
Coque Vegas to
So-
MLS.
Coque Vegas to MLS. Why not? Right? Like he played in
Did
La Liga.
you know that
No, what?
Hillcrest San Diego like Instagram page they're very big fans of Coque Vegas?
I mean,
Yeah,
mira nomás.
yeah.
Mira nomás.
Did you see Carl's quote tweet about this? When the Coque hits.
And hopefully that's a player that stays. Xavi, who just signed a pro contract.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of players that hopefully get to say I wouldn't see why this MLS San Diego team doesn't get a look at these guys, right? Like there's talent there for sure. Like you have Duran Ferry, who MLS teams have been inquiring about him. You have Xavi, who's also very young. You have
Yeah.
Coque Vegas, who's a very good goalkeeper. Might as well look at Conway, Nick Moon. Like there are players that have quality that could eventually play in the MLS. even if they're rotation players, even if they're on the bench or something like that. That's still a bigger contract than anything they would get in the USL. But it is sad. I mean, you look back down memory lane and you have like the OG kids, like those goalkeeper kids were insane, right? The first set, like you had nothing like that in the world where the goalkeeper's kit front sponsor was different than the actual player's kit.
That's what I really liked about them. Like, it was super different, and they took goalkeepers into consideration. Like, it was such a wild move that I was, where are those socks? Like, I've never seen Merch Mansion at Paul Naku. Do you have a pair of these Leal socks? Adidas Leal socks? Look at that.
And it's stuff like that San Diego Loyal would do from the start, right? They were unique. They were they would think outside the box. They had the template Adidas kits as the first kit, but they made it work with those goalkeeper kits. They said, you know what? Let's be original. Let's have a different different form of sponsor in the front for that one. So it's stuff like that people really liked from San Diego Loyal. And every season they kind of brought something. The past 2 seasons they brought 4 different kits. Like, that's 8 kits in 2 seasons. And no other club in the world does that. Like, not even the Mexican League teams that have Charlie, they don't do that either. They have maybe 2, at most 3 kits. So it's sad to see it go, but it's not over yet. There's still some time to enjoy. There's still 2 months. There's still 4 home games left. Next one is this Sunday, and we're going to get to preview it as well with Alan. But it's very bittersweet, right? Because it's a team that just left its mark, and it feels way too soon. They survived the freaking pandemic. Like, it literally feels like we wrote this wave with them.
Either way, this iteration of San Diego Loyal was not going to last past 3 years if they stayed at Torero Stadium. That was never going to be the case. It was not a recipe for success. The land that was hopefully, that was very hopeful. They've been working since they started on trying to get a modular stadium somewhere, a house in San Diego. They were supposed to have one in Snapdragon. Reports are, and this is, again, just direct sources, that MLS might have had a hand in nudging somebody's decision to say, Loyal, maybe not. Which is why you still saw San Diego and Snapdragon with Borussia. But ultimately, there's still a lot, again, to unpack. I know Paul here was saying, like, it would help warm up to San Diego FC if there are former Loyal players and even front office staff join the team. I mean, there's excellent people that already work. We know people in it that work with CONCACAF, like higher than MLS, that are super experienced, that are super good at their job. There's people who are local, who haven't had that experience, but are still really good. That hopefully, and I mean, if not MLS, now you have people with soccer experience in the community to go to Wave. There's a lot of always movement,
No, again, I do want to ask. We have a good amount of people watching, and I do want to ask if some of you want to leave comments in the chat or call in as well. Tony just put the number in the chat box as well. If after next season, when there's no more San Diego Loyal and MLS starts doing community work and they seem to start doing things right, would you be open? Those of you who are very against this MLS team, which rightfully you can be, but if they start doing work that you're like, okay, you know what, that's pretty cool. Could you see yourself supporting this new team in the MLS? A lot of people don't like the MLS for what it stands for and what the business behind it.
It's a really weird situation because for 3.5, 4 years ago, whenever this started or was going to start, I was still very much not in a podcast mood, not covering, not doing this. Like, when we came with the podcast, it wasn't, we're going to have coverage and blah, blah, blah. But we're like, yeah, but how are we going to get credentials? Oh, okay, well, this way, like, it's going to have to happen. That and I really like the team for really cool reasons, because the soccer team in San Diego, that's never happened, right? I support the city over anything. If the Padres turn into the, I don't know, whatever, the Star of Indias, also support them because they represent San Diego, right? Albion, the question up here, right? It's always a question. Do you support Albion? Do you support? Look, man, if they're in a championship game and they win it, I'm going to be happy for them because they did well by the name.
No.
Am I avid in following it? Not necessarily. Sorry, people who follow Sorry, Chileno, more than anybody, who is going to be involved. And that's what's cool about this project, right? You see different people who are coming out of the woodwork. And I'll talk about a little bit with just kind of going into the announcement with Tom Penn coming on the podcast. We're actually going to go to MLS headquarters, SDFC headquarters. And we're really grateful for the time that we're going to have with Tom. Obviously we want information on what is coming, what's going to be being introduced, but we also want to have a really real conversation. And hopefully that's something that is allowed to us. Not here to push buttons, but we're just here to gain understanding where people don't seem to have that understanding. And even if people aren't happy with the response, again, this is in a work setting. Like, this is how if I work. If I ask you a question and you don't know the answer to it, don't give I'd rather you just tell me I don't know. I'm happy with that. Me calles la boca. You shut my mouth up. Like, cool. That is fair. But if we can kind of get into it and say, how are you going to now try to capture a good handful of San Diego soccer fans where maybe San Diego Loyal couldn't? One. Two, that maybe feel a little, and I use the word to him and just disenfranchised, not to him, to Don Garber, disenfranchised by MLS coming in, being perhaps the rightful or not scapegoat for San Diego Loyal not being a team moving forward after the season. But it's not going to be a pounding of, hey, like it is what it is. The reality is San Diego Loyal will stop existing after this season. The players, no more. I don't know if they're going to stay here. Some people have put some roots here. Some people have had their kids here. Some people have made their career, revived their career. A lot of people owe a lot of things to San Diego Loyal, including the MLS. And I will not shy away from making sure that is respected. And for what it's worth, if it's truthful, if whatever it is, they have always been rather cordial to San Diego Loyal for building the infrastructure for professional soccer, a pathway for professional soccer in San Diego. And that's something that's never going to be forgotten. And I think that's why I can say that I support San Diego Loyal. MLS, it's been 4 years removed. We're taking things a little seriously. We're getting tidbits here and there. We have to respect the art. We have to respect people who do this for a living, people who are involved with some decisions that we say or not say, some information that we keep to ourselves or decide to let everybody know. It's a different ballgame, right?
Yeah.
Now they're coming in. It didn't exist. I kind of have the removed version, and that's how I've been this entire time with knowing that Loyal was going to fold. Was I'm emotionally removed from Loyal. I want them to win. I want this whole situation of them folding is sad, and I don't like it. But I've been emotionally removed where I've just kind of accepted it. Am I going to find joy in a potential MLS team for San Diego winning a championship? I think I am. I think the same way though where if I watch Mexico play, right? I'll be happy. Yeah, of course. But if I have to stonewall it, stone face it, sure.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Do you think this MLS team happens if San Diego Loyal never existed?
No, it didn't. Soccer City. There. It didn't. Yeah. It didn't work. It didn't happen. It was not going to happen. Whatever the politics are of the taxes, the tourist tax, the hotel, whatever that was going to be, even with the San Diego Chargers, that's always kind of been the thing with San Diego's. Sometimes we just don't read. And, now SDSU has it, and they're doing their thing. San Diego State's football season tickets have gone down because I think people realize that it's not a good venue for daytime football. People are like, oh, where I am, I'm about to go watch me some TCU at 105 degrees of Texas heat. And over
here in San Diego.
And over here it's 75 degrees, and people are literally passing out in the stands. I don't care where you're from. It's a reality.
Yeah. No,
That's what happened. We don't have a
I
roof.
agree with you. But, I I'm a
Get
believer
some of
of
these comments in.
stuff happens right for a reason, and I think San Diego Loyal obviously not existing anymore is just going to lead to something hopefully positive in the future, right? They're leaving this mark in San Diego where this next team just kind of like is able to pick up the pieces and just say, okay, hey, we're gonna bring everything that this team stood for and bring it to the big stage of MLS, and that's what everyone's hoping for. I think that's the way they need to approach it in order to win that fan base.
Yeah. If Soccer City passed, Loyal would be the MLS team. I think maybe, perhaps, like maybe not the name Loyal, maybe just a different type of, because at that point they were already doing San Diego FC probably. Why can't they stay at Torero? I think it's just San Diego Loyal and Andrew Vasiliades have been so giving with themselves and so giving with like, say it as it is, with his money. Like his money. Dude's a dad. Probably has different priorities now. Not saying that the kid it's not the kid's fault at all. Please do not blame the child. But I mean, damn.
A la madre.
You know, now it's starting to make sense. No.
Yeah, le quitaron los domingos.
But yeah, I mean, it's operating at a loss, and for that, like, again, I'm infinitely grateful for a local person, San Diego's own Andrew Vasiliades, for putting up a team. Like, this was truly a San Diego team. What this means for MLS and how they're going to go ahead and do it, we'll jump back into it here after we talk to Alan, who's waiting on the line.
I like how people are going.
Are you a Sockers fan? Yeah, I can say I'm a Sockers
What
fan.
are they putting on Twitter? Like going down with the cup or bring me down with the cup or something like that.
Bury me with
Bury
the
me
cup.
with the cup. There you go.
That's kind of hashtag that's going around.
How cool would it be if Loyal do end up winning the championship?
North, Carl. That'd be great. Like that'd be storyline. I think I would cry. So we're planning on having. So,
Alan, if
Alan,
you're watching,
on the way. Give me a second.
yeah.
I see you here.
You're
I'll
all
just
about-
add him here. Just because, you know.
You know he's watching. We're about to
Yeah,
have you
he's
on, Alan.
watching.
Give us a quick second.
You know, with things happening, we were part of the match day, the Viva match day.
Oh, yeah.
We were informed that no longer moving forward with that. Okay, I think they have reasons, but we're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep doing it in Spanish. If it's away, it's away. Maybe we'll see if we can finagle ourselves into doing our own version at a watch party. But like that can actually work.
We're also trying to see if we tag along to go to Vegas as well. That's just a trip that we got to see if financially makes sense for two balls and a mic.
Yeah, that too. Ask him where we're consistent. We'll come back to Tom Penn and what the questions should be for the CEO of STFC, who we will be interviewing on Wednesday. I know the same day as an event. We'll get into it. Without further ado, one of the reasons why we've been able to cover San Diego Loyal so well, this guy captivated us. I was a fan. If you want to call me a fan, I was a fan of the Fairweather podcast.
Yes, sir.
I was in there, you know, snacks, talk, and they were there with the Colin Martin. They were the only people there in the stadium with me for shout out Marissa, and just they've been through it as well. Alan, heralding a new era of professional beardmanship. Alan, welcome.
Thank you. How are you guys doing?
Heralding a new era.
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing, buddy?
How? Yeah, go
Doing
for it.
all right. Yeah, but yeah, heralding in a new era of soccer media. Yeah, I checked out the first half of the show, or first half hour. I shouldn't say first half. It's like the first 1/8 of your show. You guys kill it as far as content is concerned. And yeah, I think you spoke to a lot of what San Diego's feeling, both on the MLS side and not MLS side. And, you know, it's going to be a long 2 years trying to figure out how to navigate that, right? Like, I was talking to somebody at the watch party at Gossip Grill about how some people feel about Wave and what that owner did to Sacramento, right? There's almost never any clear-cut winners, right? There's no, like, outside of maybe a couple franchises, no one's perfect. And I think you guys also did a great job of, I saw a lot of, well, Loyal said, we'll speak, we'll act, but they're signed Andrew Carlton. And that was a huge conversation. And, we talked about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think when people are writing the first description of Loyal, they go to the emotional side, and that's where I went, and I think that's the fair place to start. But I think when we're looking at the grand scheme of Loyal, were they always perfect? I think we got to be honest and say no, they weren't. But they were almost always willing to admit when they either messed up or they would try to do better or they had a reason behind it. And so yeah, I think when you go back, maybe in 2 years from now, when there's a retrospective on Loyal, I think it might feel differently than it does now. And some people will embrace MLS because it's here. But I legitimately looked at Wave season tickets for next year, and there's no information really out there yet. So I think there's opportunities for people to stay connected to the sport. And if the watch party at Gossip Grill, I'm not sure how the one at Home Alone Way went. If the watch party at Gossip Grill is any indication, there's still a hugely passionate fan of love. It was very loud, very loud. They had to close one of the doors because I think the rest of the patrons were annoyed with how loud it was. But it was a fun time, and yeah, I'm looking into that Vegas trip as well because it's the last game of the season, and it means something different now than it did a week ago.
I mean, it takes time to process. You were part of the 2.5 hour. Just I don't know. I don't even know what it was. Just emergency pod. And so, a lot of people actually came out and were like, "Hey, thank you guys for having that because it really helped." Just throwing it out. Papi Chavo even reached out too. He was like, "Hey, dude, yeah, it's sad, but it is it's kind of the reality of things. Thank you for having it." And I really appreciate that because it's as we see Alan here doing his first solo San Diego Loyal, featuring Alan from Fairweather Podcast. Look at that! Damn, that's the title of the video. But I mean, you personally have built yourself alongside San Diego Loyal, so just kind of thinking about that, you went back and wrote another piece for Fairweather Podcast. Has anything else? Have anybody else reached out? Do you feel any sort of way now? Kind of, looking back at it, you're just gonna savor these last couple games. How are you planning on taking in the last of Loyal?
I'm gonna make a pretty it's a little bit dark, but I have an 18-year-old dog, and we're not sure how much longer he's gonna last, but you enjoy every moment of it. When he's walking into walls, when he's barking at corners because he thinks there's a door there. You get these bright moments where he looks like the dog that and love, and he skips around and he prances, and you take in those moments, and I think it just means a little bit more. I think going out to the watch party on Saturday, I think I spoke about this before, right? When New Mexico scored or when RGV tied it up, it was just okay, I mean, that sucks. But being around the people and being in that vibe, it became more about the event and more about celebrating what you got to see. And the first half was amazing. And then the third goal, I'm doing a speed run of what we're about to talk about. But I think it just had a different vibe to it on Saturday. And I think that's what I'm hoping to experience, is just getting to experience this ride one last, run into the playoffs, and who knows what's going to happen, right? We see what's happening with the Padres, where they're, never reached expectation. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, right? You hope that you get a playoff game. You hope you get a decent playoff run, a couple playoff wins, or at least one playoff win, right? We got a playoff win, right? A championship might be, reaching for something, but I think getting a playoff win under your belt and possibly getting, you know, 1 or 2 home games is a real possibility. That's what I'm hopeful for, and just trying to stay positive and enjoy the ride. It is going to be a roller coaster.
I really want to just shout out to Fairweather Podcast, man. Like I just those days, man. Like those days, is something I'll look back.
Look at that smile, Alan.
Be fond of. I think this is the pod actually of Sad Puma, Sad Puma Alan.
Yeah, I changed shirts. I was wearing that shirt today. Again, giggled, and I was like, I got to change because they won. We can't wear that shirt on tonight's podcast because they won. But yeah, I mean, the Andrew Vassiliadis interviews early on were really, really great. You know, the player interviews, like Elijah Martin was fantastic. Jack Metcalf was really gracious with his time and continues to be.
Yeah, to this day.
The Black Lives Matter podcast was like super. Like I really enjoyed being able to.
That's my
put
favorite
that
one, actually.
on. Yeah, and it's like one of those ones where it's like you sit and you get to watch it because I was sitting backstage. Like I didn't feel like that was my space to be in. But you create a space to have people to have a conversation, and that was really meaningful. And hopefully people got meaning out of it. The same thing with the, you know, what I wrote. Like hopefully it resonates with people. If it doesn't, great. If it does, that's awesome. If you find something in there that you can connect with, you know. It was really always a labor of love, right? Like we're not making money off of this. It really is a labor of love. Like you guys have a goal. My goal was just like, let's talk about San Diego soccer and USL and bring awareness. And I got a chance to work with Chris and Marissa, which was great. I got a chance to work with, introduced to you guys, which has been amazing. And so it's been a nice, you know, 4 years of USL, and I will look back on these 4 years fondly. I wish it was longer, but you know, everything must end, and you know, this just happens to end a little bit sooner than we had all hoped, but we're getting to see some badass soccer, so let's enjoy it.
Yeah,
We
100%.
still got a couple games left, so let's enjoy the last 4 games, home games that San Diego Loyal has.
Before that, one question that I want to ask you before we head into RGV San Diego Loyal match. I asked this, and I think everybody said that they would prefer to have Loyal stay. San Diego Loyal, would you rather them stay and continue and never win, never get a sniff of a championship, or them folding but winning the championship this season?
Like I would know that they never win a
Yeah,
championship.
you would know that they would exist, but they would never get remotely close to a championship.
No, I think if they end with a championship, is such a great story,
Okay.
and I feel
That's
like
fair.
that would be movie worthy. Because then you go out saying, you know what, they can say anything they want, but they can pretty much say we got ran out by MLS, but we went out with a fucking championship. And that's such a beautiful ending, and I hope that freaking happens. But yeah, no, I would pick the championship.
Interesting. Nobody else shows that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fair. But yeah, so San Diego Loyal still chugging along. The players are motivated. I was saying, like, they are motivated to bring San Diego a championship.
This was such a good game.
Not enough motivation to not make people sweat in a match that, you know, at this point, we get what you get, and you can't throw a fit for San Diego Loyal.
It's the San Diego Loyal way. Like it's gonna be rare when they just crush a team and they win 6-5 nothing 5-1 and they just purely dominate. And RGV is not an easy team to play. There's very few teams that you can say, oh, this is an easy team to play against in the USL. And Alan has been one of the people that have educated us on that.
I like that you struggled on the word education.
Sí, algo verga. But this was a starting lineup, and it's a solid one. You have Coque Vegas, Guzman, Elijah Martin back in the starting lineup, back getting minutes. Everyone missed E3. You have Stoneman, Blake Bodley on the wing back, Adams, Martin, and Guido. You have Perez Moshovani and Ronaldo. It's a solid lineup. Obviously, people start questioning, oh, where's Evan Conway? He's your top scorer. Why isn't he starting? But I think giving Ronaldo a start in an away match is important for his confidence as well. And he ended up getting a goal. But what do you guys think of the starting lineup when you first saw it?
I mean, for the first off is like M being back out there was super cool. I know he's been kind of working his way back, and it was only a matter of time before we saw him, but it is nice to see him back out there playing. The Guido Moshabani at the same time was an interesting. It was kind of like, how are they going to set up? Who's going to play where? Who's going to be the more advanced player? Is Guido going to be all right with a little bit further back, right? So it was an interesting look. And yeah, I think giving Ronaldo a run out, he's been, I wouldn't say struggling. It just hasn't been living up to the expectations that I think we all had when we signed Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this was his 7th goal. It's pretty good for a guy who's not your starting striker, right?
Yeah.
But it was nice to see him out getting a run out there and around pieces that I think are going to set him up for more success than maybe he's getting coming off the bench with some of the players that he's been teamed up with. And yeah, I think it was a really strong look. Sarah really does like that purple kit. We discussed some kits with some of the people at Gossip Grill where they thought it was the women's game because literally the quote was, "Lesbians love women's soccer." We're like, no, it's the men's. And then some people were confused because it was like, is this the championship? Is that why you guys are here watching? We're like, no, it's just what the league's called. So it's fun to educate some people who found their way there for the watch party. But yeah, I saw a lineup, at least a yellow card or 2 in that lineup, almost guaranteed.
Always,
but,
all day, all day.
But I'll take it. It's a good one.
Even on the bench.
But yeah, so it was. I agree. Seeing Elijah out there, I saw the comment that Steve put that they should have put Hackworth in there, and all the Team 1 players would have been on the field. I think Nate wanted to win, and I think to your point, right? Like Nate, because we had Nate last week on this episode. People forget because there was the news, but he was critical of Ronaldo and pushing him and saying that, like, you know what, exactly that. Like, it's maybe not where we would want him to be. He still needs to fix a couple things and improve. There's time, and if he gets hot, and I think you mentioned it right, that when he won the championship with Orange County, it's not like he was popping off in the regular season. He just popped off at the right time, right?
Yeah, it was really coming on late that he was really, really dominant with Orange County. I mean, he was pretty much the way they would play was they would just sit back and defend, and then counterattack. And when you had someone like Ronaldo Damas on the opposite end, you can just huck the ball up and let him run onto it, and he'd be all right. Like he had some up and down games throughout the season, a couple stretches of a bunch of goals in a row, and then like just nothing. And then he really kind of turned it on. Orange County scoring against Vegas, scoring against Colorado, and then in the playoffs scored against San Antonio and scored a brace in the championship. And that really solidified, scoring 3 of the 4 goals that the team scores in the playoffs. Maybe 4 of the 5 goals they score in the playoffs. I don't remember if they opened against. I think they opened against against Oakland. But yeah, he really came along at the end. There was a run where he wasn't super great. He was pretty successful at the beginning, actually. But lull and then poured it on at the end. And that's what we're hoping for, right? We're hoping for like a run in. He's a strong player. He positions his body well. They're, claiming there's a foul, but I think he's just really good positioning. The defender, bad positioning, loses his feet and tries to sell it as a foul. And then Ronaldo kicking the ball into the ground, making it a difficult shot to save. He like kicks it into the ground a little bit. Or does he volley it? I don't remember. I remember him kicking it into the ground.
Yeah, no, it bounced first, I believe. But no, Guido with the pass of the season, the accidental lob,
It looks like he means to do it. Too.
It really does, but no, that was completely accidental. And
I'll ask him actually.
yeah, no, you can tell. Like Damos doesn't even have his hands on that defender by the time the ball's dropping. I think the player thought he'd be able to use his body against Damos, and Damos kind of just backed up, and the player just lost his footing, like you mentioned, lost his balance, and he falls forward. Which that on its own is a brilliant play from Damos, right? Knowing, hey, this guy's gonna push on me right now. If I take a step back, I might be able to get the ball and be clear. So it was very well played. Guido does kind of like the Ronaldinho no look pass.
Yeah, there's a no look aspect. Like it worked. It worked. He meant to do it. Maybe not like that.
But it worked out.
It creates enough chaos for the defender.
I'm just, he really tried to sell that foul. But I'm really glad. I think the referee did somewhat of a decent job, obviously not calling this one. Before this, there was also an offsides goal taken away for RGB, which was very close, but it did look like the player was offsides. But yeah, San Diego Loyal starts off with the 1-0 lead, and then just minutes after, what time is it, boys?
Toomey time. Toomey time comes in. Good ball. Blake Bodley immediately after the first goal crosses it, and Toomey right there.
And murders the goaltender, apparently. I think that's one of my favorite parts of the goal, where just the goal goes in and the goaltender just...
It's frustrating for a goalkeeper, Tony, if you can elaborate on this, when it's a first touch where you're expecting a defender to get there first and they just absolutely get beat. Like, you just got scored on a goal 2 minutes before, and now you're down 2-0. As a goalkeeper, obviously it's not the right attitude to have. You want to take the ball, push it forward.
No. Don't give me any of that. You know what? He's allowed to feel defeated. He's allowed to just take the L on that one. It's a really good cross, right? Like, what would I do? Yell at people, I guess. But sometimes it's just like, if it's just futile. There's nothing I could have done.
No, the goalkeeper couldn't have done it.
Like,
I mean, it's one of those plays where you're
sighing.
like, wow, like this was just a great play. There was really nothing we could do. They just did way better than us. And that's really what happened. And after this goal, you saw San Diego Loyal as okay, this looks different. This could be turnaround. This could be them finally taking a very strong lead. But, I mean, we all know 2-0 is a very dangerous scoreline. That if you get a little too confident, it's very easy to get scored on against and eventually get tied. But they went at halftime with the 2-0 lead. Alan, what were your thoughts after that second goal?
I mean, it felt exciting. It felt good. This is what you wanted to see, right? Them come out early and get some goals, because I think they play different when they're trying to play from behind. They play with like a little bit more reckless abandon as opposed to like that confidence that we saw with that second goal. With that one, I think the goalie has to prepare for the cross to get all the way across to the far post. And so he's just kind of like hoping his defender, it's like at that point, you're like, please get there first. But I think, Toomey's really coming on. I think 3 goals in the last 2 games. I like that his celebration now. I like his celebration now is him pointing to his wrist. Like, yeah, I think he's really embracing what the community loves about him. And I think we talked about this last time with Coach Nate Miller, right? I said, hey, Conway, it might be pushing for the lead of the goal scoring lead in San Diego Loyal history. And he said, well, I think Toomey has some things to say about that. And maybe he was listening and was like, no, Conway, you're not taking the all-time leading goal scorer. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my thing and score. When Toomey is scoring, things are going well because the target's probably on Damas. And that frees up Toomey when Toomey's putting the ball in the back of the net. It just means it's more dangerous. And so you have to like that.
For sure. I mean, even after that, right? Do you see everyone in the background? Just like you see Collier. It's Toomey time.
There with the San Diego We Are's.
My favorite is like the disco ball and the consent is sexy sign. The Gossip Grill watch party was a very interesting vibe that I just would love every time. Like that was great.
Also, props to you on that quote on Twitter, Tony. The consent is sex and just adding the Spanish
Yeah,
Federation.
at Spanish Federation, guys. What the hell? Like
That guy's
what
mom
the
is
hell?
doing a hunger strike.
A hunger strike. That's
Fucking
crazy.
ridiculous. Anyways, yeah,
Digressing.
so they go at halftime with a 2-0 lead, and then they come back. Even before that, right? Like there was still some good shouts where San Diego could have scored and just elevated the lead. Like you have Ronaldo on a counterattack where he takes a shot and just off target. You have Guzman, who I don't know how he didn't score from inside the small box. He just kind of scooped that in, and dude, he did just zoom bill.
But the thing is that San Diego Loyal still has. Sorry, there was a squeak back here, like a little dog toy. Alan, there really was a possum in while we were doing that. The interview, the emergency pod. But regardless, San Diego Loyal cannot go far in the playoffs and have hopes of a championship if the defensive mistakes keep happening. Right, still letting teams back in the game, not liquidating them, eliminating them. I didn't like the goal that it happened for RGV, just for the simple fact that essentially the ball went. That's not it. Essentially the goal.
No, yeah, those
Yeah, but it's already 2-1. The ball traveled the length of the box, and not a single player for San Diego Loyal touched it. And it's those spaces that you just can't allow because San Antonio, Sacramento, they will punish you. A very good strike, but that ball shouldn't have even been in that position to get struck in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, you're right, but at the same time, that happens in soccer. That happens a lot. I mean, I know. Yeah, no, it's a play that is gonna happen to the best. Like you see this stuff happening to teams in the Premier League. Like, I mean, unfortunately, there was a deflection,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
but yeah, like
yeah.
I get your frustration because there has been San Diego Loyal where they make those mistakes where they leave the space, they let the players enough time to take a shot outside the box, and they've gotten scored multiple times. So I get it, but at the same time, to say like this defensive mistake, I mean, it's not a Kyle Adams backwards pass that's short
True.
or anything like that.
True.
Like this is just a cross that was hard to reach, and someone touched it and it was deflected, and that player couldn't get there, and the deflection happened. So I'm not too upset at that goal. Yeah, it could have been prevented, but it happens in soccer.
Could this have been prevented?
The penalty?
Alan?
Oh, I'm not a huge fan of that call.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
It's
like sure he undercuts him, but the last time I looked, there's no rule against undercutting. You don't have to give a guy the ground to land on. Like both players are running, the guy jumps and doesn't even win the ball. Like what do you want? Like I've seen Harry Kane do that same exact play 8 million times where he undercuts the guy in the air and nothing happens because it's not a foul. It looks like a foul.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time with that one, especially with some of the things that we've seen happen in the box that weren't pens, but they called it. The first goal is maybe unlucky deflection, maybe it's a save. But I mean, this is what you hope to see from a team where, you get something that you maybe don't agree with, but you pull yourself together and you get back into the game. You still have plenty of time. You're not losing, right? You're on the road. You have a point in hand. I had a hard time with that one, but it is what it is, right? The ref calls the penalty, so it's a penalty. Agree or disagree, it is what it is, and so you got to live with it. We've seen the team implode in the past when something like that happens, right? I was looking at Stoneman, and you almost anticipate them making another mental mistake because they're just frazzled. And so it was, a test to see if they can pull it together against, a game with maybe a call that didn't go or they felt they didn't go their way. It happened against New Mexico, but the referee was correct. And it's going to happen again, right? You're going to play 9 more games and hopefully a couple more in the playoffs. You're going to get a game where the referee makes a decision you don't like. And so what is your response? Is your response to bitch about it and complain or whatever? Is your response to go out there and play your game and try to get a goal?
That pretty much happened. The last home playoff match that San Diego Loyal had, right? They kind of lost their heads and
Yeah.
they
Let's not have a
defeated
repeat
themselves
of
in the
that,
mind. So
please.
that's a turnaround in this point, right? Where Alan, that you're talking about, like San Diego Loyal did keep their composure and ended up getting the winning goal as well. And again, it was Toomey time on a great pass. I believe it was from Collier, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Tony's playing the play right here.
Yeah, so it was such a nonchalant San Diego Loyal play where like it didn't look like RGV ever had any idea how to defend for a second. Like they just had.
It's one of
they're
those
just
plays where
watching it happen.
you just know they're gonna call off sides because of how well it was and how open he was. But I'm glad they didn't because they got it right. Like Toomey ran off the line at the same time, and even the defenders looked shocked. Like, wait, how?
Wait, he's not offsides? Yeah.
And it was just a great play from San Diego Loyal. And we've seen this at training the few times that we've gotten to go this season. But, you know, they do practice this stuff. And that's what Collier can do pretty good. He has good ball retention. That first touch is really good from him. So he does have his perks on having him on the field sometimes. I do think he's a better weapon off the bench than starting.
That slippery bloke, Adrian Perez. It's that movement he does, right? Here's the ball. Toomey is the one that initially controls it from the air after rebounding it up in the air. Boom, here you go. I start making my move. He sees the space. He sees the idea because it's either one or two things. Adrian Perez is going to lift his head up and put it into space for him, but he still has to do that run regardless. You have Collier, which is honestly the harder pass. The defender's already moving to that direction and
It's also
closing
the
up your
pass that
window.
the defenders don't expect.
Yeah, exactly. So boom, there you go. He's getting triple marked. But again, that lane still exists. Center back steps up, maybe steps up a little bit too preemptively. Had he looked to his left, he would have seen Toomey making that run that he was going to make every day of the week. He's
That's on
always
that-
going to do that.
Yeah, but that's also in that defender right behind Toomey where he kind of slept on it.
Yep.
And saw that none of his other players kind of dropped back. Because at the same time, when you're in that position as a center back, your job is to push up and try to catch the offsides as well. If you don't, then you run your ass back and try to get a block. Unfortunately, a number one rule as a defender is never let the players like win your back, and that's exactly what Toomey did on this guy. He won his back and found the space, and that's literally what cost RGB the game.
Yeah, if that defender takes one step to his left as he's running, because he's running right in line with Toomey. Like, you know, you can see that Toomey's onside. If you take one step to your left, it puts Toomey offside, and Toomey can't see him, and it's an offside goal. And also a really nice finish. That little cutback is first really good touch, which isn't always the case, right? That's one of the things with Toomey is his first touch sometimes can let him down a little bit.
His
but
first
really
touch,
nice.
second touch, third touch, fourth touch, let the ball go
Yeah.
to me. Fifth touch, what are you doing still with the ball to me? Sixth touch, shoot the ball to me. Back pass.
It's
There was one time
silent.
where I think I yelled at, it was either him or Ronaldo or somebody. I was like, just shoot. Like, they were just trying to be too perfect.
Yeah.
But that was an example of a nice soft touch, puts it toward the middle, the goaltender shifting to his right, and he puts it back to his left, and a really nice finish. And then nail biting time, right? It was still so much time to go, and then like 12 minutes of stoppage time, apparently.
So stupid. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and RGV had some moments where they were, you know, they could be dangerous. And so as a loyal fan, you're like, okay, here it comes. Oh, this one. Ugh, what a joke.
I don't know how Joe Corona gets carded for this. I don't know, and I was very confused.
Also, it's a two-legged tackle with his studs up. Like, if
Yeah.
anything, the RGV guy should have been carded. 'Cause look at that. Studs up at an ankle, two-footed tackle. Anyway.
I wasn't the only one that, towards the last few
on.
minutes of the match, was thinking, wow, really Loyal's going to get tied right now, right?
Yeah.
When there was a free kick, there was a corner at the end. I know every single Loyal fan that was watching this game had the same thought. Oh shit, here we go again.
Cooking there was a
Blow
nice little
the
save.
fucking whistle was the thought. Yeah, Nicholas Murray works for USL. He was on in the chat in the USL show last Tuesday. He said the 15-minute increment with the most goals allowed this season is the final 15, and that's like league wide.
Wow.
And so it's not just a loyal thing that they
Mhm.
they give up late goals, because I mean, to be fair, they've given up a few but not a ton. Like league wide, it's the last 15 minutes of the game have seen the most goals scored in a 15-minute segment in the lead. And Koke milking it a little bit, but yeah, was that in the 97th minute, 99th minute?
99th.
It was like, it was wild, because especially after that game where it was 6 minutes and they blew the whistle, it's like you'd want some consistency, right? But it was nice to see them hold on, especially against a tough RGV team in the Texas heat. Like, that was hot.
Yeah.
Oh,
You knew
yeah.
they were exhausted.
You know it's
Uh,
hard when there's a water break in each half. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, again, very huge win for San Diego Loyal. Obviously, fighting for the home playoff match. They're a game behind Oakland and Orange County. They win that extra game in hand, and they pretty much are in fourth place with the home playoff match. It's going to come down, Alan, to that OC tiebreaker eventually, which we were all very upset about. But let's hear from Nate Miller.
A pretty easy first half and a difficult second half. What was the difference there for us?
Well, I think anyone who knows our league knows how hard it is to come to RGV in August and perform like this. So that was a really important win on the road, and the heart in the second half was amazing. Yeah, it was definitely a case of two halves, and to be fair, we knew that going in. I think the first half we played complete San Diego Loyal football, completely controlled the game, created beautiful chances.
Miller
scoring
ball.
Goals. It was phenomenal. Second half, it became more difficult. They made changes. We had to make changes, and sometimes you just have to dig in and grind. And then we had some adversity again, a penalty call, which was brutal, but we come back right after the water break. We come back and make the play. So I think that was a lot of growth from the team. I'm very happy for the players. They fought so hard to get through a game like this, and so it's a very good result.
Yeah, like you said, a very San Diego Loyal match, grinding and just finding a way to get back in it. Why is that so unique to us, or why are we able to always do that?
Well, we're working on it. It's really hard to close out matches on the road, but as far as scoring the winning goal, we always have that in us. We always try to play the same way away from home. Again, I think we were the home team in the first half, played amazing. In the second half, we had like a 15-minute period where I thought we did exactly what we want, but I'm actually happy we had to suffer through that game. We had to suffer at the end and suffer in the beginning of the second half, because we're going to need that learned muscle. We're going to need that mentality. And so I'm just so proud of the guys. They put in a huge effort. The subs that came off the bench were amazing. And just the whole squad this week put in a real shift during a hard time. So happy for our fans back home. Thank you, San Diego. We'll see you there next week.
A pretty easy first.
I don't like the easy term, but it's all good. But Nate Miller,
He's
giving-
gonna
giving
get
Nate Miller,
asked
yeah.
in the next home game.
by you.
Someone's gonna ask about. I mean, obviously them folding. It has to get asked. He might not be happy, depending on the scoreline, obviously. But this is something exciting to look forward to. Obviously, it's an away win, and you want to finish this last season on the right foot. But yeah, they have a home game coming up on Sunday, 3 p.m. Hopefully, it's not too hot. It's supposed to cool down towards later this week. Today and tomorrow, the hottest days.
Are you up in OC, Alan?
Riverside, yes.
Eso.
¿Está caliente ese
Yeah,
calor?
what's the temperature up there?
Right now it's 86. It was a high of 104. And
Oh,
apparently tomorrow it's a high of 108. It was brutal.
Oh,
I was
like
in
soul sucking.
115 at Mexicali this weekend. So
oh, shit.
that was not pretty. But talking about Nate Miller in this post match too, like Alan, like it bring kind of context? I mean, to obviously the news that came down of San Diego Loyal not being here next season, just some of his answers, and that's kind of like why I fished for those answers of like, hey, like, what has San Diego, meant to you? What has it taught you? What is it this? What is it that? Like, he himself has grown up here. He's grown up here as a coach. He got licensed while being with San Diego Loyal. Took the reins from Landon Donovan. has close connections to some of these Team One members: Elijah, Colin, Charlie, Guido, second
Toomey.
season, Toomey, Ackworth,
Morgan,
So,
Hackworth.
yeah, Toomey and Stoney played with them back
Stoney
in
too.
Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, um, like that. That's just who keep in mind. Like while cheering, is just these individuals who might not want to move from San Diego, might not want to leave San Diego. Really fell in love with the city because of the reasons why we love the city, and um, that's why I'm confident. Like they're gonna put their all into this. Last couple games, San Diego Loyal comes back, as Nate was saying, back home against Birmingham Legion, another one of those Eastern Conference foes. What could you tell us about Birmingham, Senor?
Yeah, Birmingham's a weird team. Like they were kind of in the conversation of being, one of the best teams in the East. And then they go on a run where they don't do too well, and then they go on another run where it looks like they're impressive again, and then they go on another little bit where it looks like they're not great. Like they did not play particularly well against Detroit City. They lost 3-2. Detroit City has scored like 5 goals this season, and they scored 3 against Birmingham. They have some pretty good players: Nico Brett, Enzo Martinez. But there's also some weaknesses in the team. It's an imperfect team that is kind of bang on average in the East. But again, I feel like a broken record all the time when you can't look past anything. Matt Van Okel has been in goal, and he's been pretty good. Alex Pernale is a defender that's been in the league for a while, but some of their wing backs looked a little bit lost, and I think maybe San Diego can take advantage of that. Pretty strong through the midfield. So the midfield players are going to have their hands full, and they have Juan Agudelo, Prosper Kasim, Nico Brett, Tyler Pasher. So they have some names of guys who can put the ball into the back of the net. They've just been struggling with teams scoring against them as well. So I expect a pretty tough game. I expect maybe a little bit more open. But I think this is one where Loyal can take advantage of maybe some of the weaknesses in the team, and can refine their home form, which has been maybe not as dominant as we would like to have hoped in the past. As in the past, used to be San Diego can really count on home games, but they're 5th best home record in the West right now, 13 games, 21 points. So they need to refine that home form. Birmingham on the road would be a playoff team, 16 points in 13 games, so a little bit more than a goal per point per game, but their goal differential is not great on the road, -7. So they can be scored on. And so, like I said, I expect some goals in this one. And they running they ran a 4-2-3-1 ish setup last time, where some of their their left back, right back did not look particularly great, and so look for San Diego to take advantage of some of those weaknesses in the back line and really attack those wingers and put the back line under pressure and get some out of it.
So it's not going to be an easy game whatsoever for San Diego Loyal, especially here at home, where it seems like they're a little bit more of road warriors. They are a good team away this season. Here at home, you're going to get the trading card set if you're one of the first 3,000 to get there. They're actually really cool. There are some packs that have Kyle Adams in them.
Shit.
So get those. They're going to be really cool. What's really cool, again, is, the operations are folding. They might need the money for whatever, and, try to save and not, and keep as much as you can or recuperate. But all proceeds from single match ticket sales for this match will benefit Rady's Children's Hospital. Going out as they came in, always was top notch with the local involvement. Hopefully, can be replicated still in this city by other professional teams. And I think, who was I talking about? I mean, I know this kind of diverges from the actual game, but it'd be really cool if San Diego Loyal saw the projects, the MLS saw the projects that San Diego Loyal has and would continue them, right?
That would be cool.
Like this relationship that they've built, saying, you know what, let's go ahead and continue this project. Let's go ahead and move it forward. The spirit of this,
Like
lives on.
there's certain organizations that you hope they kind of interact with, like Chicano Federation. That's a big one here in San Diego.
The YMCA.
The YMCA.
Who had a
Yes,
devastating video too. Like I saw it. It's just like a YM employee. It's just like, hey, oh man, yeah, like that's ours. That's our guy talking about this other thing that we kind of do. Like streams kind of cross there. But yeah, I mean, get out there. I've been saying this, Alan, have I not? Before all of this, I've been telling everybody, just get out there. Like, enjoy it while you can. Please do it. If you've never experienced it, I'm sorry you're late to the party, but it's still going on right now. And
If you can't decide whether to go to Loyal or Wave, and you can't go to both, Wave will be here next season. Enjoy the last home games that San Diego Loyal has. It's a fun experience. They're going to win against Legion. I'm calling it right now. They're going to win 3-1 with a hat trick. Nah, I'm just kidding. No hat trick.
Okay, big ass.
Conway scores for sure, though.
3-1 victory for San Diego Loyal. I say a 2-1 victory for San Diego Loyal. 2-0 again, meaningless 79th minute game. Cardiac for the rest of the match. But San Diego Loyal get a win
Alan,
at home. Alan,
does Loyal win?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we see a clean sheet. I think Birmingham has enough talent to probably get one. And then hopefully there's no random penalty or defensive miscue. That's more than one. I'd like to see one or less this weekend because that defense is going to need to clean itself up if we're going to last in the playoffs when things get a little harder and goals become a little bit more precious. And so this is the time where like I said, I'd like to see. I was hoping for 2-1, but it was 3-2. So I'm going to hope for another 2-1 victory for Birmingham.
There we
Sorry
go.
for San Diego. Not
Oh,
Birmingham,
okay.
Against Birmingham.
Oh, no, Alan.
Oh, my goodness.
What have you done? Would Nate
I
Ball
made
work in
Kaylor
MLS?
Hodges feel better.
Here, Jeremy Pritchard's been saying, would Nate Ball work in MLS? I think so. Like, the world is playing much more like Nate is playing than anything else. So I think it would.
Yeah, I think Nate, his approach is player driven. Like he needs the right players. I'm not sure. There's probably not a league that it wouldn't be successful in. I mean, maybe not winning leagues or winning championships, but I, maybe Bundesliga where it's a little bit more open, less defensive. But I think his philosophy is pretty sound and would work in most leagues because I think it as long as he can get the players that he wants. And so that's maybe where it doesn't work in MLS, where you might not be able to get all of the players at the talent level you need for him to be successful at a higher level. But I'd like to certainly see him try at a higher level because I do think with the next step up in caliber player, not to poo-poo any of the Loyal players, but on a slightly higher stage, I would love to see him get a shot to put his philosophy to work.
Yeah, and I mean, future, you never know. A future U.S. men's national team coach, why not?
Could happen.
San Diego Loyal coming up here, one of the 4 last guaranteed home games of the history of this club. We'll keep talking about it maybe after we wrap up here and people are still alive. They can still kind of lounge out and talk shit, like however you want. But I think we'll cap it for right there. There's been a lot of San Diego Loyal talk recently, for good measure, for good reason. But we'll see. It's interesting times we're living through and living by. But at the end of the day, there's still a championship to win for San Diego, and San Diego Loyal is the only team in town other than Wave, that can go ahead and do that right now. So, let's go.
Alan, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure as always.
Have a good one.
Appreciate you. Gracias, Alan.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
San Diego Loyo.
Yeah, futsal courts.
San Diego Loyo.
Um,
Como me duele cuando saqué a bailar.
so yeah, the over under initiative, the Lincoln Acres little goals,
Yeah.
like at that initiative was
Stuff
actually
like that.
Paul.
Yeah.
Because I was out and about with the MLS. People who follow my personal Instagram account might have seen that I was up and at 'em with the MLS. The MLS has a project that they're doing, so they reached out and asked me to help them and just point them in the direction of some soccer outlets here in San Diego where people are out playing. So give them some leads. Played Barcata. What was it? Friday. So Friday in Linda Vista. I was not planning on playing. I just so happened to have my sambas on, and one thing led to another. I think it was 6 games out of 8, whatever. Played for 2 hours. The sweat was all the way down to the midsection. Like,
It's a good
hopefully
run.
there's some good images out there. From there, we went over to Golden Hill Park. I forget what it's called. It's literally a baseball field.
It was Evo Street, right?
Not Evo Street.
It wasn't Evo Street?
Didn't go to Evo Street. It was just a baseball field where this lady has se llama Alma, and she runs a soccer league out of a baseball field out of the rec center by Golden Hill,
Sick.
all on her own. And this is like the jackpot, right? Because this is literally playing on uneven grass, uneven dirt. It's las porterías están para la chingada. The nets have holes. It's literally 40-year-olds and a team of 20-year-olds to like playing against each other. It's a really cool league, but like it's good to showcase the fact that this is what is existing here, because what's been on social media for the MLS is lackluster, and there's no two ways about it. It's been lackluster. Hopefully, as people start getting hires, people start coming in, we'll see more expansion on that. But just listen to this story.
Okay.
Alma, una señora, una dama, a lady, with her kid who's 8 years old. 8 years old, eating churritos, like pancita, like whatever. Like everything is as typical as you get it. She's the only one that's running this league. She's running this league because her dad used to run that league. Her dad had been running that league for years, has been organizing it, funding it, being the main point of contact, but he still played in the league. Her dad had a stroke during a game on that field in his own league. Couldn't keep the league going. She never wanted to get into it. She never wanted to ever thought of running a league or anything. Because it meant so much to the dad, she took over, and it's been a couple of years. She's now gotten back of it and has teams coming in, charges $500 per. Winner gets $1,000. 16 teams. First 8 make the playoffs. Other 8 doesn't just go home and fuck off. No, she designed a cup for them. So if you are out of the main tournament, you can still win a cup. And everybody gets a medal. Everybody shares a good trophy. And that's it. And runs it all on her own.
Wow.
Fighting the city, who gave a 30% increase to rent the fields for lights that barely work. The girlfriends who are now friends of the players sitting in the lawn chairs next to the block rocker against the chain link fence, who are feeding the papitas and the little Caesars to the kids who are playing with the ball. And, you know, that's where I took them.
That's fucking
They had
beautiful,
no
dude.
idea this was here ish.
That's
and that's fair.
fucking
And that's
beautiful.
fair. And that's okay. And that's why I really like showing people like this side of things. I didn't set up the Bridge Barcata thing. That's obviously Paul and Chicano Futsal. Shout out to them. And then I took them over to East Lake Soccer League. East Lake Soccer League over in Otay Ranch Mall. Great facilities. It was 11 p.m. There were teams still playing.
Oh, yeah. Those are
the teams one of the teams consisted of completely a half of the team was like it was a charter school that had Haitian kids. So there's like clearly these kids from this charter school that have no business playing soccer, and they just want to get out there. A dad from the school who's volunteering to give to put this team together. I know his son's playing. Probably he gets some minutes. It's great. The Haitian players speaking in English and Spanish, just coming together. It's a co-ed league, so like this is what they're exposing themselves to. Then I said, hey, go to Valencia Park on Sundays. Like you'll find some pickup games there, some stuff. Found some good stuff. He actually, unbeknownst to me, out of nowhere, I don't think I told you, my girl's sister is a wife of a husband who was playing in that league.
Oh, wow.
And he came over because it was the nephew's birthday. Got him a MLS scarf, Champions League ball, and $30 for PlayStation Network. Kid is
Sick.
Uncle Tony. In any case, he was like, "Oh yeah, like," I asked him, "Hey, where do you play?" Like, "Oh, over here." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, "Yeah, no, there was this tall white dude just coming over. It's just everybody kept calling him el Americano, and this and this and that." And like, I'm like, "Oh, no shit." So MLS went to them and took pictures, just small world type things. But with that, MLS, yes,
props to you for honestly taking that initiative and just showing them around. I mean,
Yes, I
anyone
played
that
Friday.
huh?
Yes, I played Friday
Yeah.
609 soccer. How dare you?
Anyone that's been following us for the past 3-4 years know how much of San Diego you're about, right? You've pretty much raised here, born and raised here.
Look, if my contribution for San Diego soccer is doing this and being able to show people like, hey, let's go over here, then that's my contribution.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
that is
beautiful,
what it
man.
is.
I love that.
Anyway, so we kind of talked about it with Chelas when Shout was the day before the big announcement of San Diego Loyal. However, Kama will just re-break the news. We already said it earlier. We will be having Tom Penn, the CEO of SDFC, San Diego's MLS club, on a sit-down interview with us. And, you know, we're going to go ahead and cover a range of questions. Send us your questions that you have. DM it to us. However you want to go ahead and do this. We'll obviously have a strategy, and we have things that we already have planned to go over and talk to him about. And obviously what he'll know most about is about what his job is on the day-to-day basis, right? He went over to Xolos on Friday, met some of the office over there, spoke with some people I spoke to some people at Xolos. And he's like, yeah, no, like, met them, great people. Like, yeah, 100%. Like, everything is smiles and rainbows and sunshine for right now. So there is work being done. We're going to get an update. Where is MLS? Where is it going to happen? What is it going to look like when the rollout of the crest, the name, comes out? Do you think people are going to be disappointed if it's going to be San Diego FC and it doesn't change? Like,
You're gonna want to check out.
Yeah,
that
so
interview. It's gonna be a good one.
check that out. It should be dropping probably on Thursday.
I know Carl was asking where the
Carl.
facility's at. He said north or south.
I want to say
If
it's
you- if
coastal.
you- if you
say it's
mean-
coastal.
North or south from Chula Vista?
North.
North.
In a coastal sense.
But we also had a San Diego Wave match.
Oh,
Tony.
I didn't play East Lake. No, sorry. I saw 619 soccer.
Yeah, no.
I played at Barcata. I was tired.
Barcata.
2 hours. Yes, sir.
San Diego Wave. It's funny, right? Because they were on a run where they hadn't won a game in like the last 9 games. Now they have back-to-back wins and went from 6th place to solidifying 3rd place, and that's still a home playoff match. They're 2 points behind 1st place, and it's amazing and how tight the league is. Right, it's 12 teams. There's only 5 games left. San Diego played this Saturday against Houston, Sunday against Houston Dash, but they played on Friday against Orlando. The team for Marta, obviously coming back from the World Cup, and it's a team that San Diego Loyal has struggled against in the past, right? You see their starting lineup. You have Kaylin Sheridan back on goal
Kaylin
after serving
Sheridan.
that red card, and now she's back in the starting lineup. You have Naomi Girma back in the starting lineup. She didn't play in the last game because she had only gotten back to training the day before that game.
Yeah.
Abby Dahlkemper again back in the starting lineup. Now you have Girma and Dahlkemper, who were the starters that you wanted last season if everyone was healthy. You have Westphal in the right back position. Interesting, you have Kylie Real, who's been playing center back, who's been playing at a top level, and now you're like, okay, let me just use her as a left back and see how it goes. And she had a hell of a game.
Yeah.
You have Colaprico, you have Dowdy Howard, you have Doniak, Jaden Shaw, Rachel Hill, and Alex Morgan. I still don't like how CBS and WSL put Rachel Hill in the midfield position. Doniak usually stays back and plays that center mid role as well. They kind of rotate and do a good job at it. But there's a very solid lineup for San Diego Wave. I mean, you look at Orlando and you have Adriana, you have Marta, players that literally play for Brazil in the World Cup.
Yeah. And overall, San Diego Wave has struggled against Pride.
Yeah.
You know, the ghost of Morgan's past team, and it's not a factor. Traveling away over to the old home of Alex Morgan, but you know, Pride is a strong team, and they're in it for a reason as well. But it's good to see all these players starting to come back into form. And I mentioned Abby Dahlkemper back. You retired her. You said that she's retired. Like, don't even bother coming back.
I did not say that.
But you know, great that she's back. Not only in a defensive sense and a leadership sense, when it's very important here at this point in the season, right? Everybody's coming back. The veterans are coming back, and it's good to see that there is an aerial threat and a set piece threat in this team, right? You have a really good strike. Campanazo hits the crossbar. Clink, clink.
It's a very, you see this a lot in this league where you see the ball getting kicked around a lot in the box and someone's trying to clear it, an attacking player trying to get a shot off, and it lands on Dahlkemper and she gets a nice shot higher up, gets her foot under, just campanita. It's a goal that if you're Dahlkemper, right, you're a center back, you're not used to scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah.
But then you get this, coming back from
boost.
injury, playing great, the confidence boost is going to be amazing. And it's hitting in the right spot 5 games out of playoffs. Like, if they manage to continue on this run, they're going to end up finishing in first place and getting that bye week.
Portland Thorns is pretty strong, though. Portland Thorns is
Portland
probably
Thorns is very
like, if
strong.
I had a pick right now, I'm sorry, Wave, but Thorns is probably the favorite to win, and they're
And
a
it
really
might come
strong,
down
good team.
September 30th. That's Portland Thorns against San Diego Wave. Fortunately, it's going to be in Portland, so that's going to be the biggest test remaining of the season. But but then you have Orlando answering back, and you have this goal by Adriana, who this World Cup, she had a hell of a tournament as well, and just developing the talent that Brazil have up and coming as well, right? But San Diego didn't give up. I mean, Casey Stoney,
Yeah.
her subs end up working out. You put in Kyle Carusa off the bench again,
Coming in, newest signing.
who is a striker that they needed, right?
Yeah.
And it makes me laugh how people on Twitter would argue saying you don't know what the team needs. They don't necessarily need a striker. Look at that. Kyle Carusa comes in, scores a goal. The team needed a striker like this, even if they were coming off the bench. They needed someone to be able to sub off any player up on top, whether it's Doniak, whether it's Shaw, whether it's Rachel Hill or Alex Morgan. You needed someone that could come off the bench and just make an impact like this. Whether it was going to be Carusa, whether it's going to be Berkey, whether it's going to be any
Mia
other
Fischel,
player, Mia Fischel,
whoever.
any other player. They needed a striker like that, and it's beautiful to see that it's someone that is also from San Diego,
Yeah.
giving them this lead, which was a very
Ireland
big,
International.
very big away win for San Diego Wave. And again, sitting in third place right now in the league. 5 games left. You're 2 points away from Portland Thorns. Ideally, you won the home playoff match. Even better, you won that bye week and go straight to semifinals. That's where San Diego Wave ended off last season. They were 1 game away from the championship round game. And if they're able to make the championship game, it's going to be a home match.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're telling me like you're a librarian, but yeah. San Diego otra vez, San Diego Wave
Hey,
coming
ya,
in,
get over it,
and
güey.
I know it's traumatic. It's devastating news. Yeah, so it's a really good outlook here for San Diego Wave with the players coming back. So hopefully they can get into the groove of things. There's some new weapons. There's more experience with the players that didn't go to the World Cup playing together, and that builds that depth that you're going to need, especially here in this at the end coming up. So yeah, San Diego Wave do play here at home. Coming up at Snapdragon, there's a really cool hat giveaway. That's, like, I'm not gonna lie, that's a really cool hat. It's the World Cup ones with all the flags underneath on the
That's
brim.
cool. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, no, I really like that. So get your hats.
I mean,
Go
I got
watch.
I got you the other one last time.
Yup.
Houston Dash sitting in 10th place. Obviously, they're gonna be fighting, pushing for a playoff match as well. And yeah, this shirt says it all right. We stand with
stand
Jenny.
with Jenny, and this is kind of what I'll say about it is that our media days might look different just because there was some fireworks at the last meeting, and they didn't add it into the media assets that get blasted out. But Casey got upset because she kept getting asked about the Spanish national team. Unfortunately, a couple people just keep at it. Yeah, you got a good answer for the first time, but then going back at it, she's like, "No, I'm here to talk about my team." So that's on the post match. It wasn't Casey; it was assistant coach who gave the thoughts here at the end. Assistant coach Lewis Hunt. So
Casey said, "I'm tired of
yeah,
your
it's
shit.
just like, no,
I'm tired of
good.
you fucking guys."
The long trip from Florida, but yeah. So they play here.
I mean,
at
Jenny
home.
Hermosillo, player from Pachuca, representing Liga MX Femenil, and
Hermoso.
Hermoso. But just putting Liga MX Femenil on the map, too. Winning a World Cup.
Yes, winning a World
Yeah,
Cup.
what?
Yeah. I don't know.
Tranquilo, viejo.
You're the one that said it the wrong way. But yeah, so that's going to be upcoming September 3rd against Houston Dash. So that's going to be fun. Check it out.
5 p.m. You have plenty of time to make it after the Loyal
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Make it to the second half.
Yeah, 100%. The traffic will die down by that point, so you'll have easy access. Soccer here in San Diego is still happening. San Diego Wave, San Diego Loyal. Soccers seem like they're revving up for the season as well. Home opener got announced. We're going to go ahead and have those MLS updates.
And we'll let you guys know if we're going to do commentary for the Soccers again. UPSO is back as well.
Local stuff. Good local stuff. We will go ahead and, if you're still here for the fantasy season, we'll do it right after we start recording. Fantasy football, the league is going to be set. Check everything out, San Diego.Futbol. We will keep an eye out for any more developments with the San Diego Loyal story. The MLS, check the interview with CEO Tom Penn. It's going to be coming out later this week. Send us some of your concerns, comments, questions. We might be able to get those in there as well. We want to make sure that San Diego gets represented, and the people that are representing San Diego do it justice. Season's greetings. It's been a good time. Anything else?
That's everything.
Sounds good. We're going to stop recording. Stay on if you want to stay, and it'll be the unadulterated, unfiltered post-match show. Thank you for joining us. Seasons.
Laters.